These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the courage of their country. But he who stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this small consolation. At the heart of the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. These are the opening words of the 1776 pamphlet, The American Crisis, by Thomas Paine. Second to common sense, it's like the quintessential Thomas Paine. The audience that he was writing this to were people who were either on the fence positive or already kind of all in the cause of the American Revolution. These men, particularly white men that he was writing to, he was addressing. They were, yeah, they had already committed themselves to the cause, or they were looking for a sort of a push. That key phrase, though, white men. Yeah, that's who he was addressing, and I am not going to try to explain it away, and I am not going to try to be an apologist for it. Yeah. He was writing to white men. So let's talk in the spirit of Thomas Paine. Let's talk to the white men of America. Where are y'all? I'm seeing more white men come out in support of Black Lives Matter than I ever thought that I would, to be honest. And I'm not trying to put myself on this sort of sanctimonious pedestal, because I have, even today, a lot of deeply ingrained racism that I still work on. It is what it is, as the President of the United States likes to say. But in the spirit of those opening words, I do want to address the white men of America for a moment, because I think that this hits us hard. And it's those opening words. These are the times that try men's souls. Yeah, it really does. You're looking at a system that has and does benefit us more than anyone else by leagues. It's designed for us. It's built to benefit us, which is already a problem. The more insidious problem with that is that same system is built to harm others. It's built to hurt others. It's built to kill others. There's no other way of looking at it. And I think the best example of those, or of that, excuse me, is in the shooting of Jacob Blake. And I'm not talking about the the warrants. I'm not talking about what he was accused of, because that warrant, as far as I understand, has been vacated. And unfortunately, that is a go-to that I hear a lot. Whenever a person of color is shot or choked or beaten to death or tasered to death or anything else by the police, it's always, okay, what did they do? What's on their rap sheet? It, boys, I gotta say, and there's no pretty way to put this. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I want to talk about Jacob Blake because I think it's important. Um, let's go through the facts. He was approached by the police. He walked away from the police. He went into his car. We don't know why he went into his car, but we do know that his 3 children were in the car. Ultimately, it doesn't matter why he went into his car, because shooting him in the back 7 times is not a justifiable response. It doesn't matter that he had a warrant out for his arrest. It doesn't matter that he was walking away from the cops who were there to arrest him. It does not matter. They do not have the authority to shoot and kill him because he is walking away from them. It does not matter if a police officer is coming up to me, approaching me, and my 2 boys are in the car, and I'm near my car, and I have a warrant out for my arrest. The first thing I'm going to do is go and approach my vehicle, open my vehicle, and say, hey boys, cops are here to take daddy away. Really sucks. And that's the thing. I'd probably live. And that's entirely because of the color of my skin. And that's the point. That's the point. That's it. And it takes me into sort of like a segue that I hear a lot. It comes up a lot in my house. We're all very, I guess you would define it as liberal in my house, and this comes up a lot, because 2 of the adults who live in my house, myself and my mom, we're both from the South. We're both from South Carolina. And a big thing that comes up is, what if you were white? How would it have been different? Well, I can tell you how it would have been different, because we saw how it would have been different. There are reports that, and when I say reports, I mean people on Facebook who say shit. Let me make something very clear to some of you more on the right people who might watch this. That is not evidence. That is somebody on a keyboard typing up words. That's not an argument. Don't use that as an argument. Anyway, that completely aside. There are people on Facebook who, and Twitter and all the other ones, who say that at some point when Mr. Blake opened his car door and inserted the upper part of his body into the vehicle, there are people on Facebook and whatnot who like to say, oh, well, he was reaching for a knife or something like that. Okay, let's say he had a knife in his vehicle. He's in his rights to do that. He is in his rights to have a weapon. He is. Like, sorry to break it to you, but people have the right to arm themselves and to defend themselves. Whether or not he was going to brandish it is irrelevant. And here's why. Because we saw exactly what would have happened if he was white a few days later. When, what's that kid's name? Kyle Rittenhouse. That's it. When Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old, self-declared militia aspirant, I guess, who was a member of his local, what is it? Police explorers. That's it. The kids who want to be cops, and so they do ride-alongs and stuff like that. Like really, really big into the Blue Lives Matter movement, stuff like that. Or I guess Thin Blue Line. Anyway, he opened fired on 3 people at the ensuing protests. 2 of them died. The same people who like to make the arguments that, oh, well, Jacob Blake was, reaching for a knife, or, ooh, warrant. These same people also like to make the argument that the young man, Rittenhouse, that he was acting in self-defense. Okay, let's talk about that. A couple of things. And that he was there to defend local property, and some of them even cite the castle law. So there are a few things to unwrap here. Number one, if you go to a protest against police brutality with a long rifle, and you are actively pointing it at people and tapping your trigger and even firing into a crowd, you're gonna get hit with a skateboard. It's just what's gonna happen. People have the right to defend themselves from randos with guns. That is, yeah. Number 2, he was there to defend local businesses argument. That's the same thing as saying that when Eamon Bundy came to Oregon in 2014 or 15, he was there to defend the rights of Oregonians. No, he came from Nevada to take over and occupy a wildlife refuge. Done. That's why he was here. Same thing goes with Rittenhouse. This was a guy who had his mom drive him and his long rifle across state lines, which, by the way, he is 17 years old. He's alive. I'm going to get to that. He's alive. Yeah. had his mom drove him and his long rifle across state lines, which he was not legally allowed to have because he was a minor. And it turns out when you're a minor, you can't just have an assault rifle. That's not the way things work. That whole well-regulated part of the Second Amendment. He goes over there to intentionally intimidate and harass people who were there protesting police brutality. And here's the thing: the cops have made it very clear they do not need a 17-year-old defending them. They are really, really, really good at having their own backs, it would seem. He had no place being there. And then as far as the castle law, well, the castle law refers to your home being your last castle, your last place of defense. If at all points, if you retreat to your home and somebody is still, coming at you, you have the right to use deadly force at that point, because at that point, you are defending your life. This person has made it clear that they want to harm you, that they are willing to enter your home for the purpose of harming you. That's why we have the castle law. To an extent, I actually very much agree with it. For the record, I'm actually somewhat of a proponent of the castle law. If somebody is attacking you and they follow you into your home to attack you, you should be allowed to engage them in a way that saves your own life. That's reasonable. This is not what Rittenhouse was doing. Rittenhouse, again, crossed state lines. That's not his home. Those aren't his businesses. He heard there was a shooting, and he heard that there was a protest at the shooting, and he asked his mom to drive him. That's it. That's it. This guy's not only an asshole and kind of a monster, but also a little pathetic. And the mom should be charged as an accessory to this. No. And on to the final point. We go back to what would have happened if Jacob Blake were white. Once again, we saw what would happen. Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 people, killed 2. Signaled 3 to law enforcement who let him pass. Beforehand, law enforcement was giving out refreshment to some of the people, to include Rittenhouse, who were there with their rifles, with their pistols, and all of their various firearms. At no point was he greeted anything less than as a friend, as an old comrade. That's what would have happened. Not much. Sir, are you aware that you have a warrant against you? Oh, shit. Yes or no. Let me go talk to my kids real quick. Let me go reach into my vehicle. Hell, let me get out my knife. It wouldn't have mattered. And we saw that because it's the same department. It was the same police department. So if you're wondering what would have happened if Jacob Blake were white, that. And I know that I'm saying the same thing that a bunch of other people are already saying it, but my God. I thank God that Mr. Blake is alive. Because hopefully he gets to see some justice. I'm at this point I'm not going to count on it, but at this point I'm just glad that he's alive. And yes, he is paralyzed, and shit, man, I'm all of my thoughts go out to him and his family right now, because this is not an isolated incident. And that's what's the most heartbreaking. And that is what tries so many men's souls. Is that you have this instilled reverence for the police. And you want to believe that it's a good institution. You want to believe that it is an institution that is fair and that is designed to protect and serve. The problem is when you approach it from a historical lens and you start looking at the foundations of the modern police, the slave patrols, the enforcement of Jim Crow, the thin blue line, which if you are familiar with what the thin blue line is, it's pretty disgusting. All of that. And it makes it really hard to support that institution. I do know some police officers, and I know some police officers who are damn good at their jobs, who are some of the finest people that I have met. And unfortunately, from what we're seeing, it looks like those really good cops that I happen to know, that the people who make that argument happen to know, they're more the exception than the rule. And that's a problem. These are the times that try men's souls. Yeah, they are. It's really hard to change your mind. It's really difficult to look at a situation and to see where you were wrong. Because it's not just a matter of just admitting you were wrong. It's the knowledge that that pretty picture that you have about a system, it's the realization that it's just a picture. It's a mythology. It doesn't actually exist. And that's hard. That's hard, but fellas, really anyone watching this, that's patriotism. That's patriotism in a nutshell, is the ability to question and to hold your country accountable. I love this country. I absolutely love this country. I also know that it's deeply flawed. And I'm willing to stick around to help fix it because it's the right thing to do. Because that's what we do here. We see a wrong and we fix it. At least that's what I thought. At least that's what the picture showed to me. I would like to not be wrong because that tries my soul. That's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It was a long tirade, 26 minutes. I hope you got something out of it. If something comes up, I might make another one of these. I don't know. The world's on fire. People are dying from so many things that they shouldn't be dying from. And we are not all on the same boat. We are in the same flood, but our boats look different. And if you see someone whose boat isn't withstanding the storm, help them out. Seriously. Yeah. Without getting too preachy or sanctimonious, I'm gonna stop it there. But just show love where you can right now, man. It's rough. It's a depressing time to be alive, and it tries your soul for sure. But I believe that we'll get through this, and it's not just going to be a November thing. It's going to be us working hard, asking hard questions, and hoping beyond hope that hope is not lost, and then doing more than hoping. So, love y'all. Be safe. Wear a mask. And just show love. Give yourself some love. Take care of yourself. Y'all have a good one.